How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are continuing with higher lows. Watch for higher highs. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is gaining strength, that VWAP is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength. We have a bullish divergence. That does mean momentum could continue further up, and we could get bullish strength, so watch that VWAP close. If that does happen, money flow could gain further strength, and we could see Dixie push forward. Remember, we do have CPI tomorrow, so watch that very close. Over on the 4-hour, stochastic is starting to pull back. Momentum wants to pull back. VWAP is pulling back. Our money flow is breaking bearish, so the 4-hour doesn't look too positive. I would exercise caution there. Over on the 2-hour, we are going flat overall. We do have slightly higher highs and higher lows, but I would watch. At best, that would create a rising channel. Remember, rising channels do bring you down. Momentum is also weakening. VWAP is favoring more bearish. Money flow is favoring bearish, so the 2-hour does not look positive. Over on the 1-hour, again, we are struggling to continue to push forward. We are above that 300 EMA, but if we break that blue EMA and hold below it, then we will revisit that 300 EMA. Money flow does want to round. That VWAP is starting to come back down, so watch that VWAP close. If it breaks through the neutral here, momentum could break down, and money flow could start to flip from green to red. Remember, money flow being red does mean people are selling more than they're buying. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we are well above that value area high on our fixed range volume profile there. We do have that gap to the upside. We do want to push forward, but we're not gaining much. Our RSI is flat, stochastic is pushing forward. VWAP does want to break that neutral, but it's struggling. Momentum does want to push forward, and momentum does have a green dot. So if VWAP can break through that neutral and hold, we will see momentum round and give money flow further strength. That would mean Bitcoin would do better than our altcoins. Over on total for the daily, we do have that double bottom possibility here as well. Again, we can draw that out with our path tool. So you have a drop, a rise, a drop, and then a rise. So then you would end up pushing forward. You would measure your neckline. So your neckline would be where your two tops would connect. Then you go from your neckline to your head, apply that from your neckline up. I did measure the wrong area, so that's a little short, but that's okay. That would put us above right around that 724 area. We will delete this previous one. So that would put us right around that 724. That would mean if we continue along this range and we do break that 300 EMA, we could see a pretty strong run up for our altcoins. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is gaining strength, VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing up, and money flow does want to go from red to green, so we do look decent here. Over on the 4-hour, we are continuing forward. We do have a somewhat retracement, so we are seeing a push up, a retracement, push up, retracement, so that fluctuation up and down is more of a healthy move forward. Momentum is rounding, VWAP is weakening, money flow is bullish, but watch that VWAP. If that VWAP breaks down, momentum will follow and money flow will reverse, going from green to red and signaling that we have further selling pressure. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to bounce off that 300 EMA, so the next few hourly candles here will be very important. If we can continue forward, we can continue our trend, and we can see our double bottom break up. Momentum does want to round, stochastic wants to round. VWAP is starting to round away, so watch that VWAP close. If it breaks bearish and holds, we will see momentum weaken and money flow can follow. Over on the 1-hour, momentum is running away. Our VWAP is pushing down toward that neutral. Watch that VWAP close. Again, we want higher lows. If we get higher lows with consistent or higher highs from here, momentum could stay bullish, money flow could stay bullish. But if that VWAP breaks for a lower low or breaks that neutral and cannot get back above it, then momentum will weaken and money flow would push down. That would result in altcoins pushing down. Right now, we do look decent. Just watch very close. Over on Bitcoin futures, we do have a gap to the upside. So again, that is right around that 61.7. Watch for a break of that gap and a continuation. If we get a lower high there and we round away there, we could see a lower high with a lower low. That would give us further bearish continuation. RSI wants to round, stochastic is pushing up, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength, and money flow is pushing up. So if VWAP stays bullish, that money flow could go from red to green, but that will take several days. Over on the 4-hour, I would watch, we do have a gap below it, so remember gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill, so we could drop down, fill that gap. If we do end up filling our higher gap first, we push up toward that 1-day area right around this higher gap, right around that 61. If we fill that first and then we do not fill our 4-hour gap, that would set us up for a break to the downside. Filling our lower gap now would set us up for a break to the upside inversely, and we could run back up toward that area and gain some decent momentum. So that's why you want to watch which gap fills first. RSI wants to head up, stochastic is pushing up, momentum is gaining strength, VWAP is bullish, and money flow wants to head up, but that VWAP does have lower highs, so I would watch that VWAP very close. Over on the 2-hour here, we do have another gap below it, so again, exercise caution, that's at that 57.3 area. Stochastic wants to round, momentum is rounding, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is starting to head toward neutral, watch that VWAP. If it breaks that neutral and holds, momentum will break down, money flow will remain red, and we will see those higher time frames weaken. Again, that would be more ideal, because that would set us up to fill our lower gaps before we fill our higher gap. Stochastic does want to pull back on the 1 hour, momentum wants to round, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is pushing down, money flow is trying to break bullish, but with the VWAP pulling back, momentum could round away and money flow could reject that cross, so watch that VWAP very close. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, going to be very similar, probably not as many gaps, so we are continuing above that resistance. That is positive. That does mean our double bottom still is in play. Even if we do see a little bit of a retracement to fill our gap, that wouldn't necessarily invalidate our double bottom unless we broke that 300 EMA. Our stochastic is heading up, RSI is pushing up, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum is heading up, and that money flow does want to go from red to green, so watch lower time frames. They need to hold bullish if that's going to happen. Over on the 4-hour, stochastic is weakening, RSI is pulling back, momentum is rounding, that VWAP does want to break neutral, but it's struggling, so watch that VWAP close. If it does not break that neutral, momentum would remain bullish and money flow could continue to push green. That would be positive for the 4-hour and the daily. Over on the 2-hour, momentum's overall weakening. Watch, that could create bearish divergence as momentum pulls back and price moves up. Stochastic does want to round, doing the same thing. RSI is pulling back, VWAP is rounding away, so watch that VWAP close. If that VWAP breaks our neutral, momentum could end up weakening and money flow could end up reversing. Over on the 1 hour, we are pushing forward. Again, just watch very close. As momentum is weakening, price action's pushing up, we are creating those bearish divergences. VWAP is starting to pull back, money flow is starting to weaken, so watch that VWAP. If that VWAP breaks our neutral and holds, we will see momentum push down and money flow would weaken. Kind of like back here tried to do, we did retest that neutral though, and we broke bullish. If you got a retest of that neutral and you rejected, that's likely where that bearish momentum would come in. So over on graph for the daily, we are trying to break that resistance. We did get rejected by again. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing up, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum is pushing up, and money flow does want to gain strength. That does look positive. That could help set us up for a continuation forward if that VWAP stays bullish. Over on the 4-hour, our VWAP is nowhere to be found. That yellow wave just can't be found. Money flow is nowhere to be found. It's trying to be bullish, but with that VWAP being indecisive, that money flow doesn't know where to go either. Momentum is bullish, but starting to lose some steam, so watch that VWAP very close. If it continues to ride this neutral area, momentum will continue to weaken and money flow could end up breaking down despite VWAP not being bearish. Over on the 2-hour, we do have a consolidation here after a push forward that could create a bull flag. Remember, a bull flag would continue to push you forward. That would be positive because that would break that 300 EMA and potentially push us toward that 16,316. RSI is starting to weaken, stochastic is pulling back, so watch that stochastic, momentum is pushing down, and that VWAP is a little more bearish, so I would watch that VWAP very close. If that VWAP continues to push down here, momentum will continue to weaken, and money flow will start to reverse, going from green to red, and if we do see that for several hours, remember that would weaken higher time frames. Over on the 1 hour, again, we have that consolidation that could be positive, it could be a rising triangle, either way, that could push us up. RSI is pushing up, stochastic does want to round, momentum is pulling back, VWAP is bearish, so watch. If VWAP does have a consistent low, watch for a rejection of neutral. If we get a rejection of neutral here, momentum will break down, money flow will round, and higher time frames will weaken. However, if that VWAP crosses bullish, and then we see it hold above that neutral, momentum would remain bullish, bouncing higher and bring money flow higher. That would strengthen higher time frames and continue to push us forward, again breaking resistance and pushing us toward that next resistance. Over on Ankr for the daily, we are holding on that value area low, so that is positive. Again, that is on our fixed range volume profile. Stochastic does want to push up, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength, money flow does want to break that neutral. So if that VWAP stays bullish, we could see that money flow go from red to green, and that would signal that we have more buying pressure on the daily, which could help push us toward that value area, that point of control, that next area. And then our next one is way up there. So our value area high is way at that 51. So there's quite the jump between our point of control and that 51. Expect a lot of volatility in that range. But nonetheless, we could push up toward that 2673, continue forward. If we meet support there, I would watch our other resistance areas that you see mapped out here. Stochastic is pushing up, VWAP is bullish, momentum is pushing forward, money flow does want to break bullish, so we do look decent. Over on the 4-hour, we did break bearish, but that wave was not very strong, and we do want to push bullish, so I would watch. If we can hold above the neutral here, momentum would remain bullish, money flow would flip, and we would continue to push up. However, if that VWAP rejects here and we see a lower low, momentum will break down, money flow would reject, and we would see the 4-hour and daily start to weaken. That would push us down toward that 2338 and back down toward 2020. Momentum does have bearish divergence on our 2-hour. RSI is falling back. Stochastic is rounding. VWAP does want to break down. We do have slightly higher highs, but those highs aren't very strong. So watch as momentum weakens. Money flow does want to round. Again, we need that VWAP to gain some significant pressure. Otherwise, we're likely going to push lower. Over on the 1-hour, we do have some lower highs here on these waves, so we are pushing forward, we are trying to run up, but we're seeing lower highs despite this run up, and we do have gaps below. Remember, that's an 80% likelihood that we drop. VWAP does have a lower low. After that, VWAP failed to get a consistent and stronger high. We failed to hold bullish, and our momentum is dropping. VWAP is seeing a lower low, so money flow is weakening. The 1-hour looks like we are about to reject. I would exercise caution, but we do have a gap to the upside. So if we do break down from here and fill our lower gaps, that does set us up to push back up and fill that gap to the upside. So those lower gaps may be DCA areas, not financial advice. Over at XRP for the daily, we are struggling to break our 54. This could be a long lower shadow, so watch for the next candle. If the next candle is green, we could break our resistance, push that 300 EMA, and try to continue to our 57. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength, VWAP is pushing forward, and money flow does want to stay bullish, but watch as it's very weak. Over on the 4-hour, we are continuing to see EMAs continue above each other. That is positive. This green EMA needs to cross and hold above the blue EMA if we're going to continue that trend and continue above higher EMAs, which will help continue to push us up. Momentum is pushing up. VWAP is trying to stay bullish, but I would watch. Price action, the highs and lows don't really connect, so we do have a bullish continuation. That bullish continuation could help push us forward, but if that VWAP breaks neutral and holds below, momentum will break down and money flow could reject that neutral, and we could see the bears gain control, so watch that VWAP close still. Over on the 2-hour, we are trying to push forward. This could be a double top though. We have a rise, a drop, a rise. So watch for a rejection that could cause another drop, and that could cause further losses to retest our lows. Our momentum does want to push down. VWAP is rounding away. Money flow is bullish, but if that VWAP breaks down, momentum will lead money flow lower, and price will follow. So over on the 1-hour, we are trying to break that resistance area. Again, struggling as we meet it. Stochastic does want to round. RSI is pulling back. Momentum is rounding. VWAP is starting to push down, and money flow is nowhere to be found. So watch that VWAP close. If it does not bounce and get a higher low, then momentum will start to weaken and money flow will break down. We could then see higher time frames start to weaken if that money flow breaks red and holds for several hours. Oops, did not mean to open that. So again, if you have any requests, drop them in the chat. Again, I appreciate all of you who watch every night. And those of you who are tuning in, if it's your first time, make sure to hit the like and subscribe. But over on ALGO for the daily, stochastic is pushing up, VWAP is pushing forward, momentum wants to gain strength, money flow does want to push up, so we do look decent. Again, watch lower time frames though. Over on the 4 hour, we are approaching that 300 EMA. Watch for a rejection. If we reject this, then we're likely going to continue lower, break our EMA band to the bearish side below it, and then we could continue lower, pushing down toward that 1032. Momentum does want to round, VWAP is bullish, money flow is pushing up, stochastic is pushing forward, RSI is continuing up, so we do look decent. Again, just watch very close as we approach that critical resistance area. Over on the 2 hour, we did break that resistance and we did retest and hold. That is positive. That does mean we could continue forward to that 1350. Again, just watch for any kind of bearish momentum. VWAP is pushing up, momentum is continuing up, money flow is continuing forward. So overall, the 2 hour does look positive. At retest would have been your cue that we could continue forward. Over on the 1 hour, we are continuing above EMA bands, seeing a bounce as we retest them. So again, that is positive. That could continue to push us up toward that 1350. Watch if we can break and retest that and hold. If we can, then we could continue this rise up. Stochastic does want to push up. Our RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is bullish, but watch, we are making lower highs potentially. If we get lower highs, momentum could start to round and money flow could continue to weaken. Despite us pushing up, we could end up curling away. So that's the bearish indicator you want to watch. Watch that VWAP. If it rounds away and breaks down, we could end up selling off. But if that VWAP stays bullish, we will continue forward. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. I appreciate it.